Oh my God, this is a whole lot of money. Just one bundle will save my dying mother in the hospital. I think I should just take one bundle to save her life. My boss will never know. No one will ever.
Unknown to Amanda, her boss, Mr. Michael, was watching everything through the CCTV cameras, and what he discovered would change both of their lives forever. If you love emotional African stories full of suspense, kindness, sacrifice, and unforgettable life lessons, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Now, let's begin today's story. Many years earlier, Amanda was born in a small town in Nigeria. She was the only child of her parents. They were poor, but their little home was always full of love, peace, and laughter. Her father, Daniel, was a hardworking carpenter. Every morning before the sun came out, he carried his tools to his small workshop. He made tables, chairs, beds, and cupboards with great care. People trusted him because he never cheated anyone. Amanda's mother, Charity, sold tomatoes, peppers, onions, and vegetables in the local market. She smiled at every customer and never lied about the price of her goods. Although they did not have much money, they believed that good character was greater than riches. Amanda woke up early and swept the small compound before getting ready for school. Her mother, Charity, prepared a simple breakfast of pap and bread. Her father, Daniel, smiled as he picked up his toolbox. "I will be back before sunset," he said. Amanda hugged him. "Have a good day, Daddy." Daniel kissed her forehead. "You too, my little girl. Always remember what we have taught you." Amanda smiled. "I will never forget." Daniel waved goodbye and walked to his small carpentry workshop. He had many chairs and tables to finish that day. Customers trusted him because he always did good work. As he worked, he sang quietly to himself. The sound of his hammer filled the workshop. Everything seemed normal. Then, without warning, Daniel stopped working. He placed one hand on his chest. He looked weak. His hammer fell to the ground. He tried to call for help. My God! Suddenly, he collapsed. A loud noise echoed through the workshop. People nearby rushed inside. "Daniel, what happened? Quick, help him." Two young men lifted him into a taxi. Another man called Charity. She dropped the basket of tomatoes she was selling. "My husband!" She ran as fast as she could. Amanda was called out of her classroom. A neighbor held her hand. "Come with me." Amanda looked frightened. "What happened?" "It is your father." Her heart began to race. When they arrived at the hospital, Charity was crying loudly. Doctors and nurses rushed Daniel into the emergency room. Amanda stood outside, shaking. She folded her hands and prayed, "God, please don't let my daddy die." Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the doctor came out. His face was serious. "I am very sorry. We tried everything, but he passed away before we could begin treatment." Amanda stared at the doctor. She could not believe what she had heard. She slowly turned to her mother. "Mama, no, this cannot be true." Charity screamed with pain. "My husband, my Daniel." Amanda burst into tears. She hugged her mother tightly. Both of them cried until they had no strength left. The hospital became very quiet. Even some nurses wiped tears from their eyes. A few days later, family members and neighbors gathered for Daniel's burial. People spoke about his honesty. He never cheated anyone. He was a good man. He helped everyone. Amanda stood beside her mother's hand, unable to stop crying. As the coffin was lowered into the ground, she whispered, "Goodbye, Daddy. I promise I will never forget your words." After the burial, life became much harder. The workshop was closed. There was no more money coming into the house. Charity worked longer hours in the market. Amanda helped her every evening after school. Sometimes they ate only one meal a day. Sometimes they went to bed hungry. Still, Charity refused to steal. She refused to beg dishonestly. One night, Amanda looked at her mother. "Mama, are we going to be okay?" Charity forced a smile, even though tears filled her eyes. "God will make a way. We may be poor, but we will never lose our good name." Amanda held her mother's hand. "I will work hard. I will take care of you." Charity smiled weakly. "I know you will." Neither of them knew that an even greater test was waiting ahead. Years would pass. Amanda would grow into a beautiful, hard-working young woman. Then one ordinary afternoon, her mother would suddenly fall to the floor without saying a single word, and Amanda's world would be turned upside down once again. Many years passed. Amanda was no longer a little girl. She had grown into a beautiful, humble, and hardworking young woman. Even though life had been very difficult, she never forgot the lessons her parents taught her. Every morning before leaving the house, she would look at her father's old toolbox, which was still kept in one corner of their small room. She would whisper, "Daddy, I will make you proud." Charity was growing older too. Years of carrying heavy baskets in the market had made her body weak. Still, she refused to stop working. "My daughter," she often said, "as long as I can still stand, I will do my best." Amanda would smile. "Mama, one day things will become better. I believe God has not forgotten us." One hot afternoon, Charity returned from the market looking very tired. She dropped her basket by the door. Amanda noticed that her mother's face looked pale. "Mama, are you okay?" she asked with worry. "I am just a little tired," Charity replied with a weak smile. She tried to walk toward her chair. Suddenly, her legs became weak. She lost her balance. She fell heavily to the floor. "Mama!" Amanda screamed. She rushed to her mother's side. "Mama, open your eyes." Charity did not answer. Her eyes were closed. Amanda's hands began to shake. She ran outside crying, "Help! Please help us!" Neighbors rushed into the house. Together, they carried Charity into a taxi. Amanda sat beside her all the way to the hospital, holding her hand tightly. "Please don't leave me, Mama. I have already lost Daddy. I cannot lose you too." When they reached the hospital, nurses quickly wheeled Charity into the emergency room. Amanda waited outside. Every second felt like 1 hour. She could not stop praying, "Dear God, please save my mother." After some time, a doctor came out. "Are you Charity's daughter?" he asked. "Yes, doctor." "We have given her first treatment, but we need to carry out several medical tests." Amanda quickly nodded. "Please do everything you can." Hours later, the test results were ready. The doctor invited Amanda into his office. His face was calm but serious. Amanda's heart beat very fast. "Doctor, what is wrong with my mother?" The doctor took a deep breath. "Your mother has a serious problem with her spinal cord." Amanda looked confused. "Can she get better?" "Yes," the doctor answered, "but she needs surgery as soon as possible." Amanda's eyes filled with hope. Then please do the surgery. The doctor's face became sad. The surgery is very expensive. Amanda's smile disappeared. How much will it cost? The doctor mentioned the amount. Amanda felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. She had never seen that much money in her entire life. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Doctor, I don't have that kind of money. I am only a poor girl. I don't know anyone who can help me. She fell to her knees. I beg you, please don't let my mother die. The doctor quickly helped her stand. Please don't kneel. I understand your pain. I will keep treating your mother for now, but listen carefully. The surgery cannot wait forever. The longer you delay, the greater the danger. Amanda covered her face and cried. She walked slowly into her mother's hospital room. Charity opened her eyes and smiled weakly. My daughter. Amanda quickly wiped away her tears so her mother would not worry. I'm here, Mama. Charity held Amanda's hand. I know the doctors have told you everything. Amanda nodded. We will find the money, I promise. Charity shook her head gently. My daughter, never do anything wrong because of me. Amanda looked into her mother's eyes. I will never steal. I will never cheat. I will save you the right way. That night, Amanda sat alone outside the hospital. She looked up at the stars. Her stomach was empty. Her heart was heavy. But inside her, one decision became stronger than ever. She would work day and night. She would take every honest job she could find. No matter how hard life became, she would fight with all her strength to save the only family she had left. The next morning, Amanda woke up before the sun rose. She quietly knelt beside her small bed. Dear God, she prayed, please give me strength. I will not give up. I must save my mother. She put on her old clothes and left the house. Her first job was at a small restaurant. As soon as she arrived, the owner greeted her. Amanda, you are early again. She smiled. Good morning, Ma. I am ready to work. The kitchen was full of dirty plates, pots, spoons, and cups. Amanda rolled up her sleeves and began washing them one by one. Her hands stayed in soapy water for hours. She scrubbed the burnt pots until they shone. After that, she swept the floors, cleaned the tables, wiped the chairs, and emptied the rubbish bins. The work was tiring, but she never complained. When customers thanked her for keeping the restaurant clean, she smiled warmly. By afternoon, Amanda hurried to her second job. She worked as a cleaner in the large mansion of a rich woman. The house had many bedrooms, shining marble floors, and beautiful furniture. Amanda carefully dusted every table. She cleaned the mirrors until they sparkled. She washed the windows and polished the wooden furniture. Then she watered the colorful flowers in the beautiful garden. The rich woman watched her from a distance. This girl works with all her heart, she said to another worker. Amanda simply smiled and continued working. She knew every minute mattered. When evening came, Amanda rushed to a nearby cement factory. Heavy trucks arrived one after another. Workers carried bags of cement from the trucks into the warehouse. Amanda joined them. Each bag was heavy. Her shoulders ached. Her back hurt. Sweat covered her face. Some workers laughed. You are too small for this job. Amanda smiled through her pain. I am stronger than I look. She lifted another heavy bag. When night fell, most people went home to rest, but Amanda's work was not over. She walked to the busy market. There, she helped vegetable sellers arrange their goods. She carried heavy baskets for traders. She helped old women move bags of onions, tomatoes, and peppers. Every small job earned her a little money. Late at night, Amanda finally returned home. She was so tired that her legs shook as she sat on the floor. She opened a small metal box. Inside were all the little amounts she had been saving. She counted every naira carefully. 1, 2, 3. When she finished counting, she became silent. It was nowhere near enough. She looked at the hospital bills. She looked at the list of medicines. She looked at the money she owed neighbors who had helped her. Almost everything she earned disappeared immediately. Amanda covered her face and cried quietly. The next morning, before going to work, she visited her mother in the hospital. Charity smiled weakly. "My daughter, you look very tired." Amanda forced a smile. "I am fine, Mama." Charity gently touched Amanda's rough hands. They were once soft. Now they are full of cuts. Amanda quickly hid her hands. "It is nothing." Charity shook her head. "You are carrying too much." Amanda held her mother's hand tightly. "I can carry any burden if it means seeing you smile again." Charity's eyes filled with tears. "My daughter, promise me one thing." Amanda nodded. "What is it, Mama?" "No matter how difficult life becomes, never lose your honesty." Amanda smiled through her tears. "I promise. I would rather stay poor than become a thief." Charity smiled proudly. "My husband would be proud of you." Amanda kissed her mother's forehead before leaving for another long day of work. Outside the hospital, she looked up at the sky. "My strength is getting smaller," she whispered, "but my hope is still alive." At that very moment, her phone suddenly began to ring. It was the hospital. As Amanda answered the call, her heart started beating faster. The doctor's voice sounded urgent. "Amanda, please come to the hospital immediately. What I have to tell you cannot wait." Amanda's heart pounded as she held her phone. The doctor's voice was serious. "Amanda, please come to the hospital immediately." She did not waste a second. She left the market and ran as fast as she could. Her slippers almost came off her feet, but she kept running. She finally reached the hospital, breathing heavily. The doctor was waiting outside his office. "Come in," he said gently. Amanda sat down, but her hands would not stop shaking. "Doctor, please tell me my mother is alive." The doctor nodded. "She is alive." Amanda let out a small sigh of relief. "But," the doctor continued, her heart began to race again. "The medicines are helping a little, but they cannot solve the problem." Amanda looked down. "I understand." The doctor folded his hands on the table. "I need to be honest with you. You now have only 2 months to raise the money for the surgery." Amanda slowly raised her head. 2 months? The doctor nodded sadly. "If the surgery is delayed any longer, your mother's condition may become too serious. There is a real chance that we may not be able to save her." Amanda's eyes filled with tears. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Then she broke down. She cried so hard that even the nurses outside the office became quiet. "Please, doctor," she sobbed. "I am trying. I walk every single day. I hardly sleep. I have sold almost everything I own. I don't know what else to do." The doctor handed her a clean handkerchief. "I know you are trying. I have never seen someone fight so hard for a parent, but time is no longer on your side." Amanda wiped her tears. "I will not give up. I will find a way." She walked slowly to her mother's room. Charity smiled when she saw her. My daughter. Amanda forced herself to smile. How are you feeling today, Mama? A little better. Charity noticed Amanda's swollen eyes. You have been crying. Amanda quickly shook her head. No, Mama. It is just because I am tired. Charity gently held her hand. My daughter, if God decides that my time has come, do not destroy your life because of me. Amanda immediately shook her head. No, I cannot lose you. I already lost Daddy. I will do everything I can. Charity smiled softly. I know you will, but promise me again. Amanda nodded. I promise. You will never steal. I will never steal. You will never cheat. I will never cheat. You will never take what belongs to another person. Amanda squeezed her mother's hand. I would rather suffer with a clean heart than live with stolen money. Charity closed her eyes with peace. I raised a good daughter. Those words stayed in Amanda's heart as she left the hospital. Outside, she sat on a small bench. She looked through her phone. She called one relative after another. An uncle refused to answer. An aunt said she had no money. A cousin promised to call back, but never did. An old family friend said, I am sorry, I cannot help. Amanda lowered the phone. She felt completely alone. There was no father, no brothers, no sisters, no relatives willing to stand beside her. Only her sick mother, only her faith, only her determination. The next morning, Amanda returned to the market before going to her other jobs. An elderly trader watched her quietly. For many months, he had seen Amanda helping people without complaining. She carried heavy bags for old women. She returned extra change whenever someone paid her too much. She never argued with anyone. That morning, he noticed tears in her eyes. He called gently, My daughter, come and sit with me. Amanda wiped her face. Good morning, Papa. The old man looked at her with kindness. You always encourage other people, but today I can see that something is deeply troubling you. Amanda tried to smile. It is nothing, Papa. The old man slowly shook his head. No, a heart that carries this much pain cannot hide it forever. Amanda looked away. For a long moment, she remained silent. Then, she slowly opened her mouth to tell him the painful story that had changed her life. Amanda sat quietly beside the elderly trader. For a moment, she could not speak. The old man looked at her with kind eyes. My daughter, he said softly, you have helped me many times. Today, let me help you. Amanda took a deep breath. Then she told him everything. She spoke about her father. She spoke about how he collapsed and died. She spoke about her mother's sickness. She spoke about the expensive surgery. She spoke about working 4 different jobs every day. As she talked, tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm trying my best, Papa, she said. But no matter how hard I work, the money is never enough. The old man sighed deeply. You remind me of my late daughter. He gently patted Amanda's shoulder. Do not lose hope. I know someone who is looking for a housemaid. Amanda looked up. Really? Yes, he is a very rich businessman. His name is Mr. Michael. Amanda became nervous. Will someone like that employ a poor girl like me? The old man smiled. He is rich, but he values good character more than money. I will recommend you. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Thank you so much, Papa. The old man wrote an address on a small piece of paper. Go there tomorrow morning. Be yourself. Tell the truth. Amanda carefully folded the paper and placed it inside her bag. That night, she could hardly sleep. She prayed again and again. Dear God, if this job is your answer, please let me find favor. The next morning, Amanda wore her cleanest dress. It was old, but neatly washed and ironed. She brushed her hair carefully. She looked at herself in a small mirror. Then she smiled. I will do my best. After praying with her mother at the hospital, Amanda left for the address. When she arrived, she stopped walking. Her mouth slowly opened in surprise. Before her stood a magnificent mansion. The compound was huge. The green garden was filled with beautiful flowers. Tall palm trees stood proudly on both sides of the driveway. Luxury cars were parked neatly. Everything looked clean and beautiful. Amanda whispered to herself, "I have never seen a house like this before." She walked slowly to the gate. A security guard welcomed her politely. "I am here to see Mr. Michael," Amanda said. The guard smiled. "Please, go in." As Amanda entered the compound, she saw a simply dressed man watering flowers. His clothes were plain. He looked calm and humble. Amanda believed he was one of the workers. She walked toward him respectfully. "Please, sir," she said politely, "I came to see Mr. Michael." The man looked at her and smiled. "I am Mr. Michael." Amanda froze. "What? You are Mr. Michael?" The man laughed gently. "Yes." Amanda quickly bowed her head. "I am so sorry, sir. I did not know." Mr. Michael smiled kindly. "There is nothing to apologize for. Come inside." Amanda followed him into the beautiful house. The sitting room was bigger than her entire home. Beautiful paintings decorated the walls, the furniture showing brightly. Everything was neat and peaceful. Mr. Michael offered her a seat. Amanda sat carefully. She did not want to spoil anything. Mr. Michael looked at her with a gentle smile. "I hear many good things about you. The elderly trader says you are honest and hardworking." Amanda lowered her head. "I only try to do what is right, sir." Mr. Michael nodded. Then the interview began. He asked about her family. He asked about her education. He asked about her work experience. Amanda answered every question honestly. Finally, Mr. Michael became quiet. He looked directly into her eyes. "Amanda, let me ask you one last question." She nodded. "Yes, sir." He leaned forward. "If someday you see bundles of money inside this house while cleaning, and you are in your most desperate situation, would you take even one bundle?" Amanda remembered her father's voice. She remembered her mother's words. Without thinking twice, she answered firmly, "No, sir. My parents taught me never to steal what belongs to another person. Even if I am suffering, I cannot steal." For a few seconds, the room became silent. Then, a warm smile spread across Mr. Michael's face. "You have the job." Amanda could hardly believe her ears. Tears of joy filled her eyes. Amanda could hardly believe the words she had just heard. "You have the job." She stood up with tears of joy in her eyes. "Thank you so much, sir," she said. "You will never regret giving me this chance." Mr. Michael smiled kindly. "I hope not. Come tomorrow morning. Our house manager will show you your duties." Amanda bowed respectfully. "Thank you, sir." She left the mansion with a heart full of hope. On her way to the hospital, she kept thanking God. When she entered her mother's room, Charity smiled. "My daughter, you look happy today." Amanda sat beside her bed and held her hand. "Mama, God has answered our prayers. I have a new job." Charity's tired face brightened. "Praise God! I knew He would make a way." The next morning, Amanda arrived before everyone else. The house manager welcomed her warmly. "Let me show you around." The mansion was even bigger than Amanda had imagined. There were many bedrooms, a large living room, a shining dining hall, a beautiful kitchen, long hallways with lovely paintings. Outside, colorful flowers filled the garden. Amanda listened carefully. "I will do my best," she said. From that day, she worked with all her heart. She cleaned every room until it sparkled. She polished the furniture until she could see her face in it. She washed the windows until they shone in the sunlight. She swept the compound every morning. She watered the flowers every evening. Nothing was too small for her attention. If she saw a chair out of place, she arranged it. If she saw dust on a shelf, she cleaned it immediately. Soon, everyone in the house noticed her. One cook smiled and said, "Amanda works harder than all of us." The gardener nodded. "She never complains." Another worker added, "And she always greets everyone with respect." Even Mr. Michael quietly watched her from time to time. He saw how carefully she did every task. He never heard her argue with anyone. He admired her humble spirit. Days passed. Then weeks passed. Amanda received her first salary. She smiled with gratitude. But after buying her mother's medicines, paying part of the hospital bill, buying food, and settling a few old debts, almost nothing remained. That night, Amanda counted the little money left in her room. She sighed deeply. It is still not enough. The following afternoon, while cleaning the sitting room, her phone began to ring. She looked at the screen. It was the hospital. Fear entered her heart. She quickly answered, "Hello?" The doctor's voice sounded gentle but serious. "Amanda, please come to the hospital after work. It is important." As soon as her work ended, Amanda rushed to the hospital. The doctor welcomed her into his office. He looked at her with sadness. "Amanda, the medicines are no longer enough." She held her breath. "Your mother cannot wait much longer." Amanda's eyes filled with tears. The doctor continued, "You now have only 1 month left. If we do not perform the surgery before then..." He stopped speaking. Amanda already understood. Her legs became weak. She sat down and cried. "No, please, doctor, there must be another way." The doctor slowly shook his head. "I am sorry." Amanda walked out of the office with tears flowing down her face. She did not even notice that someone was standing nearby. Mr. Michael had come to the hospital to visit an old friend. As Amanda passed him, she was crying so deeply that she never looked up. Mr. Michael recognized her. He quietly watched as she entered her mother's room. He heard Amanda whisper, "Mama, don't worry. I will save you. I don't know how, but I promise I will." Mr. Michael stood silently outside the door. For the first time, he understood why Amanda always looked worried. He now knew she was carrying a heavy burden. As he drove home that evening, he thought about her words. Then, a quiet idea came into his mind. If Amanda is truly as honest as she says she is, I need to know. The next morning, Mr. Michael unlocked the safe in his bedroom. He left it wide open. Inside were huge bundles of US dollars. Then, he called Amanda. "Amanda," he said calmly, "please clean my bedroom today." After she walked upstairs, Mr. Michael quietly opened the CCTV cameras and fixed his eyes on the screen. Amanda carried her cleaning bucket upstairs. She did not know that this day would change her life forever. She knocked gently on Mr. Michael's bedroom door. "Sir, may I come in?" "You may," Mr. Michael replied from downstairs through the intercom. Amanda opened the door and walked inside. The bedroom was neat and beautiful. The curtains were open and the morning sunlight filled the room. She placed her bucket on the floor and began to clean. She dusted the tables, she arranged the pillows, she wiped the shelves. Then she walked toward the large wooden safe. She stopped. The safe door was wide open. Inside were bundles upon bundles of US dollars. Amanda's eyes became wide with shock. Her lips trembled. She whispered, "Oh my God, this is a whole lot of money." She slowly stepped closer. Tears filled her eyes. She thought about her mother lying in the hospital. She remembered the doctor's warning. Only 1 month left. She looked at the money again. Her voice became weak. "Just 1 bundle will save my dying mother. My boss may never know, No one is here. She slowly stretched out her hand. Her fingers came close to one bundle. She could almost touch it. At that same moment, Mr. Michael sat quietly in his office. His eyes were fixed on the CCTV screen. He watched every movement. His heart beat faster. He said softly, "What will you do, Amanda?" Amanda's hand stopped in the air. Suddenly, memories rushed into her heart. She saw her father's smiling face. She heard his voice. Trust is more valuable than gold. Then she remembered her mother's words. Never steal, never cheat, never take what does not belong to you. Amanda closed her eyes. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She slowly pulled back her hand. "No," she whispered, "I cannot do it. If my mother lives because I stole, I will never have peace. If she dies, I will still remember what she taught me. I will not destroy my parents' name." She stepped away from the safe. She fell to her knees. She cried with all her heart. "God, please help me. I don't know what to do anymore, but I will not steal. I trust you." After several minutes, Amanda stood up. She gently closed the safe without touching even one bundle of money. Then she finished cleaning the room as if nothing had happened. When she was done, she quietly left the bedroom. Downstairs, Mr. Michael was still staring at the CCTV screen. His eyes became wet. He could hardly believe what he had seen. Many people had walked in his house before. Some had stolen money, some had stolen jewelry, some had lied. But this young woman, she had the perfect chance to steal. She desperately needed money, yet she walked away with empty hands. Mr. Michael slowly smiled. "You have passed the greatest test. You are richer in character than many wealthy people." That evening, Amanda finished her work and greeted everyone. "Good night." She left the mansion and hurried to the hospital. She did not know that a black car was quietly following her from a distance. Mr. Michael kept a safe distance so she would not notice him. Amanda entered the hospital and went straight to her mother's room. She held Charity's hand and smiled through her tears. "Mama, God will make a way." After a few minutes, Amanda left the room to buy her mother's medicines. The moment she walked away, Mr. Michael quietly entered the hospital through another entrance. He asked one of the nurses, "Please take me to the hospital director." A few minutes later, he sat inside the director's office. Without saying a word, he placed a check on the table. The hospital director looked at the amount and gasped in surprise. Mr. Michael spoke calmly. "I want to pay every outstanding bill for Charity. I will also pay for her surgery and every medicine she will need after the operation." The director looked at him in amazement. "You mean everything?" Mr. Michael nodded. "Everything." Then he added one important instruction. "But there is one condition. No one, not even Amanda, must ever know that I am the one who paid." The hospital director slowly smiled. "I give you my word." Mr. Michael stood up quietly. As he walked toward the door, he looked back one last time. The next morning, Amanda woke up with a heavy heart. She prayed quietly before leaving for work. "Dear God, I have done my best. Please don't let my mother die." After finishing her morning duties at Mr. Michael's mansion, she hurried to the hospital during her break. As she entered the hospital, one of the nurses smiled brightly. "Amanda, the doctor wants to see you." Amanda's heart began to beat fast. She followed the nurse to the doctor's office. The doctor stood up with a warm smile. "I have good news." Amanda looked at him with hope. "What is it, doctor?" The doctor handed her a file. "An anonymous person has paid everything." Amanda blinked in surprise. "I'm sorry, what did you say?" The doctor smiled again. "All the hospital bills have been paid. The surgery has been paid for. Your mother's medicines have been paid for. Even her recovery costs have been paid for." Amanda stood there in complete silence. She could not believe her ears. Then tears began to roll down her face. She covered her mouth with both hands. "Who did it?" The doctor gently shook his head. The person asked us not to reveal their name. Amanda fell to her knees. She lifted both hands toward the sky. "Thank you, God. You have answered my prayers." The nurses helped her stand. Many of them had tears in their eyes. They had watched Amanda struggle for many months. Now they were happy for her. Amanda rushed into her mother's room. "Mama!" Charity looked up. "My daughter, what happened?" Amanda hugged her tightly. "The money has been paid. Everything." Charity's eyes became wide. "What?" "The surgery is going to happen. Someone paid for everything." Both mother and daughter cried tears of joy. They thanked God together. 2 days later, Charity was taken into the operating room. Amanda sat outside. She held her father's old handkerchief in her hands. Every minute felt like 1 hour. She prayed without stopping. "Please, Lord, let my mother come back safely." Hours later, the doctor walked out. Amanda quickly stood up. The doctor smiled. The surgery was successful. Amanda burst into tears. She hugged the doctor. "Thank you." She ran into her mother's room after she was moved from recovery. Charity smiled weakly. "I am still here." Amanda laughed through her tears. "Yes, Mama, you are still here." Weeks passed. Charity became stronger every day. She slowly began to walk again with the help of the nurses. Amanda's heart was finally at peace. She returned to her work with renewed joy. Everyone in the mansion noticed the change. She smiled more often. She sang quietly while cleaning. One afternoon, Mr. Michael met her in the beautiful garden. "You look much happier these days," he said. Amanda smiled. "Yes, sir. My mother is getting better. I don't know who helped us, but I pray every day that God blesses that person." Mr. Michael smiled gently. "I believe your prayers will reach them." From that day, they began talking more often. Sometimes they sat in the garden after work. They spoke about life. They spoke about faith. They spoke about kindness. Mr. Michael discovered that Amanda loved reading books. The next day, he gave her a novel. "I think you will enjoy this." Amanda received it with both hands. "Thank you, sir." Every evening, they discussed what they had read. They laughed together. They shared stories from their childhood. They respected each other's opinions. Their friendship became stronger with each passing day. Amanda admired Mr. Michael's humility. Even though he was very rich, he treated everyone with respect. Mr. Michael admired Amanda's honesty, kindness, and hardworking spirit. He realized that her beautiful heart was far greater than any treasure money could buy. Months passed. One evening, as the sun slowly disappeared behind the trees, Mr. Michael looked at Amanda with a gentle smile. He took a deep breath. He had made an important decision. "Amanda," he said softly, "there is something I have wanted to ask you for a long time." Amanda looked at him with curiosity. Her heart began to beat faster. Amanda looked at Mr. Michael with surprise. "There is something I have wanted to ask you for a long time," he repeated. He slowly reached into his pocket and brought out a small velvet box. Amanda's eyes became wide. Mr. Michael opened the box. Inside was a beautiful diamond ring. He smiled warmly. "Amanda, from the first day I met you, I saw a kind and honest woman. Every day, my respect for you grew. I have never met anyone with a heart like yours." He took a deep breath. "Will you marry me?" Amanda covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. For a few moments, she could not speak. Then she smiled through her tears. Yes, yes, I will marry you. Mr. Michael gently placed the ring on her finger. Both of them smiled with joy. A few weeks later, they visited Charity together. When Amanda told her mother the good news, Charity cried tears of happiness. She held Mr. Michael's hands. My son, thank you for loving my daughter. Mr. Michael smiled. I promise to love and respect her all the days of my life. Soon, preparations for the wedding began. Family members, friends, neighbors, and well-wishers gathered from different parts of Nigeria. The church was beautifully decorated with white and gold flowers. The choir sang joyful songs. Amanda wore a beautiful white wedding gown. She looked graceful and radiant. Mr. Michael looked handsome in his fine suit. When Amanda walked down the aisle, everyone stood up. Many people smiled. Some wiped tears from their eyes. The pastor prayed for them. They exchanged their vows. Then they exchanged rings. I now pronounce you husband and wife. The church erupted with applause. The reception was full of joy. Traditional dancers performed with energy. Guests enjoyed delicious Nigerian food. Children laughed as they ran around happily. Music filled the air. Amanda looked at her mother dancing carefully with a smile. Her heart overflowed with gratitude. Months passed after the wedding. Amanda enjoyed her new home with Mr. Michael. One Saturday morning, Mr. Michael smiled at her. My dear, I have a surprise for you. Amanda laughed. What kind of surprise? You will see. They drove together. After some time, Amanda looked out of the window. Why are we at the hospital? Mr. Michael only smiled. Come with me. They walked inside. As soon as the hospital director saw them, his face lit up with joy. Mr. Michael, it is wonderful to see you again. Amanda looked from the director to her husband. You know each other? The director laughed happily. Of course. Then he turned to Amanda. My dear, you have been asking for years who paid all your mother's bills. Amanda nodded. Yes. The director smiled. The person standing beside you paid every kobo. He paid for your mother's surgery. He paid every hospital bill. He paid for every medicine. He paid for her recovery. He was the anonymous helper. Amanda stood completely still. She looked at Mr. Michael. Then she looked back at the director. Tears filled her eyes. She could not believe what she had just heard. Slowly, she turned to her husband. You? It was you? Mr. Michael gently nodded. Yes. Amanda burst into tears. She threw her arms around him and hugged him tightly. You saved my mother. You saved my family. Why didn't you tell me? Mr. Michael gently wiped away her tears. Because I did not do it to be praised. I wanted to help you from my heart. Then he smiled and held both of her hands. The day you refused to steal one bundle of money, I knew you were the kind of woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. You chose honesty when no one was watching. You chose character over money. And that is worth more than all the wealth in this world. Amanda cried even harder. She thanked God again and again. Charity later learned the truth. She held Mr. Michael in a warm embrace. My son, may God continue to bless you. You did not only save my life, you gave my daughter a future. From that day, Amanda and Mr. Michael used their wealth to help poor families. They paid school fees for children. They helped widows start small businesses. They paid hospital bills for people who had no one to help them. Wherever they went, they reminded people that kindness costs nothing, but it can change someone's life forever. And Amanda never forgot the lesson her parents taught her as a little girl. She taught the same lesson to her own children. Never steal, never cheat, never take what does not belong to you. Because honesty may not reward you immediately, but in the end, it can change your entire life. Good character is worth more than money. Kindness, integrity, patience, and faith in God always find their reward.